My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 28 years old, and when I was 13, my parents abandoned me at a hospital waiting room and never came back. Last week, those same parents showed up at a lawyer's office wearing their Sunday best, absolutely sure they were about to get rich because my Uncle Benjamin had died. But when the lawyer, Mr. Robert Chen, started reading from that thick document, my mother's confident smile vanished like morning fog. And when he reached the part about who gets what, my mother screamed so loud the security guard came running. Her face went red, then white, then red again. She looked like she might faint. Before I tell you what happened, if you love stories about karma and justice, smash that like button and subscribe to Sister Sephora. But only if you genuinely connect with this story. Drop a comment telling me where you're from and whether you believe people always get what they deserve. Now let me take you back to where this all started. Back to the day I learned that some parents don't deserve their children. I grew up in a cramped apartment in Texas. My dad, Robert Mitchell, drove a delivery truck. He was the kind of man who never disagreed with my mom about anything. My mom, Jennifer, worked at a dentist's office answering phones. She controlled everything in our home like a queen controlling her kingdom. My older sister Melissa was 16 when I was 13. She had mom's red hair, mom's green eyes, and mom's loud personality. Everyone said Melissa was mom's twin. Mom loved hearing that. I looked like my dad's sister who had died young. Dark hair, dark eyes, quiet voice. Mom never said I was ugly, but she never said I was pretty either. She just acted like I was invisible most of the time. The differences were everywhere. When Melissa turned 16, Mom threw her a party with 30 people, a DJ, and a cake shaped like a crown. For my 13th birthday 2 months later, we ate leftover pizza and Mom gave me a card with no money inside. Just a card. I didn't realize how bad it was until I turned 11. That's when I discovered Melissa had a college savings account with $8,000 in it. Money Mom and Dad had been saving since Melissa was born. I asked Mom if I had one too. She laughed. Actually laughed at me. Melissa is going to be a doctor or a lawyer, she said. You'll probably just get married or something. You don't need college money. That was when I understood. I wasn't wanted. I was just there. Taking up space. Using up food. Costing money they wished they could spend on Melissa instead. Everything changed in May 2010. I entered a science competition at school without telling anyone. It was a big competition. Students from 100 schools entered. The prize was a full scholarship to a special summer camp at the university. Room, food, classes, everything free. Worth $6,000. On May 15th, I won first place. Out of 500 students, I won. For exactly one day, I felt proud of myself. Then Melissa heard about a cheerleading camp in Florida her coach was talking about. 3 weeks. Not free. Cost. $5,500. That night, Mom made her decision. Sarah, you're not going to that science camp. We're using the scholarship money for Melissa's cheerleading camp instead. I stared at her in shock. You can't use my scholarship for Melissa. It's in my name. It's for me. Mom's face got hard like stone. Are you saying no to me? In my house. It's not your scholarship to give away. My voice was shaking but strong. I earned it. It's mine. Mom stood up from the table. Her voice went quiet and cold. If you can't sacrifice for your sister, then you're not my daughter anymore. Dad just sat there, silent. Melissa smirked at me from across the table. I thought Mom was just angry. I didn't think she meant it. 3 days later I came home from school. My clothes, my books, my stuffed animals, everything I owned was packed into black trash bags on the sidewalk outside our apartment building. Mom was standing at the door with her arms crossed. She looked calm. Who come? I called your Uncle Benjamin, she said flatly. He's driving here from Colorado. You're going to live with him now. I don't want you here anymore. You're too selfish for this family. I stood there in shock. Behind her I saw Dad sitting on the couch watching TV. He wouldn't even look at me. Melissa was in her room with the door closed. Music was playing. She didn't care that her little sister was being thrown away like garbage. I sat on those trash bags from 3:30 in the afternoon until 10 o'clock at night. 6.5 hours. Mom went inside after 5 minutes and locked the door. None of the neighbors said anything. They just walked past me like I wasn't even there. Uncle Benjamin lived 8 hours away in Colorado. He drove through the night to get to me. When his car finally pulled up, I was crying so hard I couldn't breathe. He got out, ran to me, and picked me up in the biggest hug I'd ever felt. "You're safe now," he whispered. "You're safe. You're coming home with me." As we drove away through the dark, I watched my apartment building disappear in the mirror. I didn't know that before Uncle Benjamin arrived, my mother had signed legal documents. Papers that said she was giving me away permanently. Papers that said she didn't want to be my mother anymore. I was just a scared 13-year-old girl who thought she had done something wrong. It would take 15 years for me to learn the truth. And when I did, it would destroy my mother's dreams forever. Uncle Benjamin's house in Colorado was like a castle compared to our tiny apartment. He had a big backyard, a kitchen with an island, and he gave me the biggest bedroom upstairs. But the house wasn't what mattered. What mattered was that someone finally loved me. Uncle Benjamin owned a construction company. He built houses and commercial buildings all over the state. He'd started from nothing, working 3 jobs to save enough money to start his business. By 2010, his company was worth millions. He never married, never had kids. When I showed up with nothing but trash bags full of wrinkled clothes, he didn't see a burden. He saw his daughter. Over the next 4 years, I thrived. I studied harder than I'd ever studied before. I graduated high school in 2014 as valedictorian with a perfect 4.0. The state university offered me a full scholarship to study engineering. By 2018, I had my degree. Top of my class. Uncle Benjamin brought me into his company as an intern in college. I learned everything. How to read blueprints. How to manage construction crews. How to handle budgets and contracts. By 2020, he made me VP of operations. By 2022, I was running half the company. On my 26th birthday, I was managing projects worth $30 million. Uncle Benjamin took me to dinner that night. Just the two of us. "Sarah," he said, "you need to know something. You're in my will. Everything I have built, it's yours. Because you're not just my niece. You're my daughter. The only daughter I'll ever have." I cried right there in the restaurant. In 15 years, my biological family reached out 4 times. Always wanting something. Never to see if I was okay. First contact. 2011. Mom called Uncle Benjamin asking for $10,000. Dad had crashed the delivery truck and lost his job. Uncle Benjamin said no. Second contact. 2015. Melissa sent me a graduation announcement. No letter. No invitation. Just the announcement with her picture. Expecting a gift. Threw it away. Third contact. 2019. Mom sent a Facebook friend request with a message. "We should reconnect. Family is important." Blocked her. Fourth contact. 2023. Dad sent an email saying Mom had diabetes and they needed help with medical bills. Surely Benjamin could spare some money for family. I deleted it without responding. I wasn't angry anymore. I just didn't care. They were strangers who happened to share my DNA. Then in January 2025, Uncle Benjamin had a heart attack. Bad one. He survived, but the doctor said his heart was badly damaged. He had maybe 6 months. He updated his will in February. He died March 15, 2025. Peacefully at home with me holding his hand. 5 days after the funeral, my phone rang. Unknown number from Texas. Answered. "Sarah. It's your mother." I almost hung up. "What do you want, Jennifer?" "Not Mom. Her name." "I heard about Benjamin." "I'm so sorry. Listen, we heard there's a will reading next week. As family, we have a right to be there. We're coming." My blood ran cold. "You are not family. You gave me away, remember? That was a long time ago. Blood is blood, Sarah. See you Tuesday. She hung up. I immediately called Mr. Chen, Uncle Benjamin's lawyer. They've already filed a challenge, he said. They hired a lawyer. They're claiming you manipulated Benjamin. They want half of everything. Smiled. Cold, hard smile. Let them come, I said. I want them there. I want them to hear everything. The will reading was in Mr. Chen's office on the 40th floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Beautiful view. I arrived early wearing a black suit. Professional. At exactly 2 p.m. the elevator opened. Out walked my mother in a fancy black dress with pearls. My father in an ILL fitting suit. Melissa in designer clothes I know she couldn't afford. And their lawyer, Mr. Frank Davis, carrying an expensive briefcase. Mom walked in like she owned the place. She saw me and smiled. Sarah. Oh honey, it's been so long. She tried to hug me. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Her smile froze. Mr. Chen directed them to seats in the back. The main table is for primary beneficiaries only. Mom's face went sour. She expected to sit at the head of the table. Instead, she was in the back like an audience member at a play. Mr. Chen began reading. This is the last will and testament of Benjamin Arthur Mitchell. First, I want to address why certain people are not in this will. Mom leaned forward. On June 1, 2010, my brother Robert and his wife Jennifer legally terminated their parental rights to their daughter Sarah. They signed official documents giving her to me permanently. I adopted Sarah legally in 2012. She is my daughter. They are nothing to her. Mom's mouth dropped open. In addition, Mr. Chen continued, Robert borrowed $50,000 from me in 2005. He never paid back a single dollar. He is a liar and a thief. Dad's face turned purple. Therefore, I leave Robert and Jennifer Mitchell nothing. Not one penny. Not one property. Nothing. Mom jumped up. This is insane. We're his family. Sit down, Mrs. Mitchell, Mr. Chen said firmly. Now, Mr. Chen continued, I leave my entire estate to my daughter Sarah Mitchell. All properties, all money, all assets. Total value. $47 million. The room went silent. Mom's face went from red to white to green. She looked like she might vomit. 47 million, she screamed. This is fraud. She tricked him. She poisoned him against us. I stood up slowly. Jennifer, you threw me away like trash when I was 13. You signed papers giving me away. You chose this. Every single consequence you're facing right now, you created. I'm your mother, she screamed. No, I said coldly. You were my mother. Then you signed papers saying you didn't want to be. You don't get to come back now that there's money. Melissa started crying. This isn't fair. We're your family. You stood by and watched them throw me out, I said to her. You did nothing. You're no sister of mine. Mr. Chen handed me a sealed envelope. Benjamin left you a letter. I opened it with shaking hands. Dear Sarah, if you're reading this, they showed up like I knew they would. Greedy. Entitled. Empty-handed. Don't feel guilty for anything. You owe them nothing. You survived them. You thrived without them. This money isn't a gift. It's what you earned by refusing to let them destroy you. I'm so proud of you. Forever your dad, Benjamin. I was crying now. Mom tried one last time. Sarah, please. We made mistakes. We were young and stupid. We need this money. We have nothing. I looked at her. Really looked at her. You had a daughter who loved you. Who just wanted you to be proud of her. Who would have done anything for your approval. And you threw her away. You chose money and convenience over your own child. Now you have exactly what you deserve. Nothing. Their lawyer tried to argue. Mr. Chen shut him down with the adoption papers, the termination documents, and emails proving Uncle Benjamin was mentally sound when he made his will. The case was over before it started. As they left, Mom turned back one more time. You'll regret this, Sarah. Family is everything. You'll end up alone. Smiled. A real smile. I'd rather be alone than be with people who made me feel worthless. I have friends. I have people who love me. I have a legacy to honor. I have everything that matters. What do you have? She had no answer. They left. I never saw them again. 6 months later, I started the Benjamin Mitchell Scholarship for kids from broken homes. Kids whose families gave up on them. Last year we gave 20 kids full college scholarships. This year we'll do 30. That's my story. My parents thought throwing me away was the end of me. Instead, it was the beginning. They thought coming back 15 years later would make them rich. Instead, they left with nothing but shame. Here's what I learned. The people who hurt you will always come back when they think you have something they want. But you get to decide if you open that door. You get to decide who deserves a place in your life. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't hurting them back. It's succeeding so massively that they have to watch you shine while they sit in the darkness they created. If this story touched you, if you've ever had to cut off toxic family, drop a comment below. Hit subscribe to Sister Sephora for more stories about justice, boundaries, and taking back your power. And remember, you don't owe anyone access to your peace. Not even the people who gave you life. Because living well, thriving despite them, building something beautiful from the ashes they left you in. That is the ultimate victory. See you in the next story. Stay strong.